Good Monday morning. Welcome back to Toledo Zoo's daily Facebook Live for #ZooOpenOnline. We are behind the scenes in the Avian Breeding Center today, and we're going to get to see, for many of you, including me, the very first time, our Kiwi. This is going to be a very cool one, so as you guys get tuned in, let us know that you're here. We'll give some shout outs. We always like to hear where you guys are from too, so tune in, join us, and we're going to be talking Kiwi today. All right, let's see who's here. Thank you. All right. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Gavin and Grayson in Kansas City. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning to Max in Temperance. Hi, Dinah. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, Theo and William. Jessica's watching us from Battle Creek, Michigan. Dinah's in Lima. Hi, Hazel in Michigan. Good morning. Good morning, Jenna. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining us this morning. Hi, Jeremy in Chicago. Absolutely, Hillary. We will absolutely say hi to Logan. Good morning. Hi, Nathan and Missy in Perrysburg. Good morning, Wendy in Toledo. Hi, Abby in Perrysburg. Well, thanks for tuning in every day. We really appreciate that. Hey, Lori in Monclova, and good morning, Tracy in Michigan. And happy Monday morning from Mary Beth. Now that's a good Monday right there. Hi, Danielle. She's in Maine, very cool, working toward her animal behavior degree. A former zoo teen. That's really cool. Hi, Caleb and Grace in Lambertville. Hi, Raven in Monroe, and Andrea in Michigan, Marcus in California. Hi to Sam, Charlotte, Amelia, and Emily. Hey, Zach in Michigan and Maya in Michigan. Hi, Karen in Perrysburg. All right, guys, we've got everybody tuning in here today, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got a few more morning announcements than usual. We are doing our Meals on the Go again this week with some specials for Cinco de Mayo, so you want to get those orders in now. Orders have to be in by 1 p.m. tomorrow for Tuesday pickup, or 1 p.m. on Thursday for Thursday pickup. This week's options are chicken or beef soft shell tacos or chicken or eggplant parm. So get those orders in. We have been selling out, guys, so don't miss it. And also, if you're looking to celebrate Cinco de Mayo tomorrow, we do have margaritas, 16-ounce ones for $8. They are delicious. Last Thursday, we sold almost 100, so we have 100 people who can attest to these. They are quite good, guys. Get them in. And if you're looking for a special thing for Mom this Mother's Day, we've got some great ideas for you. Check out our social posts from over the weekend, but also Meals on the Go, we're doing cookie kits. You can buy a kit, gets a dozen cookies, 2 types of icing, and sprinkles. Have the kids decorate cookies for Mom for Mother's Day. That would be really cool. We also have our native plant sale going on if you want to get Mom, like I did for my mom at her request, some native plants. That would be a very cool thing to do, and you can pick those up this weekend, have them ready before Mother's Day. So those are some cool things. Always keep in mind zoo memberships, zoo pal adoptions, commemorative plaques. Check all that out at toledozoo.org/donate. And we appreciate you guys helping us keep going during this difficult time. You have helped us through this far. Keep pushing us through. We'll get there together. We appreciate it, guys. All right, oh yes, 2 more things. Tomorrow is Giving Tuesday. Every year we usually do it in November, but because of the need that has arisen from COVID-19 around the world, charities around the world are moving up Giving Tuesday to tomorrow, and we will be running a Facebook fundraiser. Feel free to donate to that to help us sustain for the year. We have a goal of $2,020 to help us get through 2020. So help us with that. The fundraiser will go up first thing tomorrow morning on our Facebook page. And our Jupe Mode t-shirts. Have you guys seen these? They are Quarantine Crew 2020 through Jupe Mode's Here for Good t-shirt campaign. We are leading their top 10 in sales. We've already sold well over 200 shirts. Keep it going. There is a link on our social page, or go to Jute Mode's website and get one of those for your crew. Half of the proceeds do come right back to the zoo. All right, that is it for our morning announcements. Cynthia is here with us today from our bird department, and she's going to tell us all about our Kiwi.
So like she said, I'm Cynthia, and I am the Avian Breeding Center keeper at the Toledo Zoo. I take care of all of the off-exhibit breeding birds and any of their offspring that we would hand rear. And one of my favorite birds to take care of is our North Island brown kiwi. So we're going to take her lid off and take a little look at her. So here she is. We're going to feed her some food and let her get comfortable, and then we're going to talk about her a little bit. So one of her favorite things to eat is worms. So I'm going to go ahead and give her some. It's okay. Sometimes she's got to smell it before she wants it. So we have 3 kiwi here at the Toledo Zoo, and we have 3 North Island brown kiwi. This is our female. She is just over a year old, and her name is Maya. We also have 2 male kiwis. We have 26-year-old Koru. He is over at the pheasantry exhibit. And then we also have 52-year-old Peewee. He is also over at the pheasantry exhibit, available to be viewed year-round. Kiwi are nocturnal, flightless birds that are native to New Zealand, and there are actually 5 different species of kiwi. The North Island brown kiwi, which is this one here. There's the southern kiwi, the great spotted kiwi, the little spotted, and also the rowie. Oh, come on. You don't want that?
And what are you feeding her right here?
So right here, we're just feeding her meatballs. Even though she's not taking them, meatballs are actually one of her favorite food items, so she might just be a little nervous right now. And although kiwi are revered in their native range, the population faces many threats. Of course, human disturbance is always a problem for many animals, habitat loss, and also the introduction of mammalian predators. So New Zealand was free of mammalian predators until the arrival of humans over 100 years ago. So settlers brought with them pigs, dogs, cats, and weasels. And those animals threaten kiwi at all life stages. And kiwi populations have actually declined from over 20 million birds to only 70,000 that remain over the 5 different species.
That is very cool. And let's see, we have our first question here today. Ainsley wants to know why their beaks are so long.
So their beaks are really long because they use them to, so you can kind of see her doing it a little bit. They use them to root around in the leaf litter and in the dirt. So that's how they find their food. Kiwi are the only bird in the entire world that have their nostrils at the end of their beak instead of at the base of the beak. So when she dips her beak all the way into the dirt, she's kind of sniffing around, and if you listen really carefully, you might be able to hear her kind of making those sniffing noises, so maybe she'll do it. No sniffing?
I think she's a little camera shy this morning, but that's all right.
She's probably, here. Oh, there she goes, she's making it. So what is New Zealand doing to protect these birds? So fortunately, New Zealanders take their kiwi conservation very seriously. They've established programs to help protect their unique bird. The Toledo Zoo supports the initiative Kiwis for Kiwi and they fund money to it, and they are working to protect, the Kiwi for Kiwi is working to protect kiwi in their natural range. So they do a number of things. They have established extensive predator control programs to help trap these animals that kill them in all their life stages, and then they remove them from the environment. She really wants some worms. Come on.
Oh, there we go. Worms are the meal of choice this morning.
So the worms are clean, but she does dirty them up a little bit. She doesn't like them unless they have a little dirt on them. So another thing that Kiwi for Kiwis does is they do egg fostering. They go out, they monitor dens. They spend a lot of time looking for these dens. They spend a lot of time monitoring pairs. And then they will actually pull eggs from the wild If they are fertile, they will artificially incubate the eggs, and then they will release the birds after they hatch, and they are hand reared back into the wild, into their native ranges.
That's really cool. Luke wants to know if kiwi are dangerous.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they're definitely feisty. She can scratch, but they're not in any danger to any people or really any other animal. They're definitely more threatened by other things. So one of the really cool things about her is that we actually collaborated with another facility to get her. We worked with the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute, which is a facility that collaborates with the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. I'm sorry. And they have a kiwi at their facility, and her egg was laid in January of 2019. So once her egg was laid, and they knew that the egg was fertile, they pulled blood from her egg using sophisticated blood drawing techniques, and they determined that her embryo was actually a female. So before she even hatched, we knew that she was going to be a girl. They then drove her egg in a portable incubator to the Toledo Zoo, and we finished incubating her egg for another month or so, and then she officially hatched on March 19th, and that is why we have her. And she is actually not the first kiwi that we have hatched here in Toledo. In 2016, we received another egg, a male, from the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute, and he hatched, and he actually just recently left. He went to another facility, and his name was Kurihimate.
All right, and Roland would like to know, why can't they fly?
So kiwi can't fly because they don't have any wings. So it is thought that they adapted over millions and millions of years to not need to fly. So when you're in New Zealand and there's no mammalian predators, you don't really need to live up in the trees. You can adapt to live on the ground, and that's what they did. They adapted over a very long period, and actually once we pick her up, we'll be able to see what is left of her vestigial wing. That was a big one.
And Scarlett would like to know, how did they get their name Kiwi?
That's a very good question, and I actually don't know why they're called Kiwi. I do know that they were probably named by the Maori people, so that would be a good thing to look up on the internet. So when we think of kiwi, the first thing people usually think of is the kiwi, the fruit. So in New Zealand, they call the kiwi bird kiwi, and they call the kiwi fruit. So it's kiwi fruit or kiwi. And we're here in the US, the first thing we think of when we think of kiwi is the fruit, and we say kiwi bird. So we can get her picked up for a minute, and we'll get a closer look at her.
Well, while Cynthia does that, let's give a few shout outs. Stephanie says, wow, they're a lot bigger than I thought they were. I thought they were the size of pigeons. They are quite large for a bird. And so you guys will be able to see her a little better once Cynthia has her. So we'll take a look at that here. Let's see. Hi, Gabriella and Charlie. Stacy says, great job, Cynthia. And you are. You're doing a wonderful job, and we're excited to see her here. And AJ wants to know why she keeps hiding from you. AJ, actually all kiwis are nocturnal. So this is a different time of day for her to be up and awake. But she is such a sweet little bird, as somebody said earlier. So that's really exciting stuff. And we'll get back to some questions here in just a moment. We're going to say some more shout outs here. Hi to Claire and Aiden. Hi AJ and Isabel. Good morning to Max and Colton and Isabel and Camden and Ainsley. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And we're going to get right back to your questions here. Cynthia, how are we looking down there?
So we're just going to try and make sure that she's comfortable. So kiwi really love head scratches.
Oh.
So I'm just going to rub her head for a little bit. Make sure she's nice and calm and isn't scared. Maybe offer her some food.
All right. And Isabel wants to know, how long can they live?
So in captivity, usually 20 to 40 years is pretty common. But like I said earlier, we do have a 52-year-old male Kiwi on exhibit at the Pheasantry, and I did look. He is the oldest Kiwi in captivity on record. So that's pretty cool. He's quite an old boy, but you wouldn't know it. He gets around pretty good.
That's awesome. And Aiden wants to know, can they swim?
They can swim. They actually do love to get inside the water, and usually her water dish is completely dirtied up by the next morning. She'll go in there, she'll splash around, and she'll take baths. And a lot of times, actually, when female Kiwis are getting ready to lay their eggs, the egg is so big that they'll actually go and sit in the water to kind of relieve some of the pressure of the egg on their bellies.
And Hannah tells us, she said, my kids would love if you could tell people the native name for Kiwi in New Zealand is Okarito, which I'm going to take a guess
Okarito.
here and say Okarito. All right. And Max would like to know, how big can they get?
So she is about 2.5 pounds. Usually they can stand, it's okay, at about 15 inches tall for the North Island brown Kiwi. She is the biggest of the Kiwi species. That's what she wants. She wants her meatballs. But yeah, so average 2 to 6 pounds depending on the bird, and about 15 inches tall for the North Island brown Kiwi.
And Isabel and Colton ask, what are their predators?
So in the wild, like I said earlier, over millions of years, they adapted to not having any. And until humans brought in dogs, cats, weasels, and pigs, that's what was really threatening them. So baby kiwi are tiny. They're only about 250 grams, and they can't really defend themselves once they hatch out of the egg. So stoats will go in and easily kill kiwi, and they'll also take eggs and they'll eat them. Once a kiwi is big enough, they can defend themselves. So that's what those initiatives that New Zealand is taking is. That's why they're going in, they're pulling eggs, they're hand rearing the birds until they're old enough. And then once they're about 6 months to a year, they're able to release them back into the wild so they can protect themselves. And how they do that is, I like to call them her dinosaur feet, but she has very long claws and very strong feet. You can probably see she did scratch me a little bit. She didn't do it on purpose, I'm sure, but that's how they fight. So some people actually think that they use this beak for fighting, but they don't use it at all. They use their feet, they jump and they kick, and they can inflict fatal wounds with those sharp claws. So once they're old enough and they're big enough, they can defend themselves pretty good. I've heard stories in New Zealand where there's, I believe his name is Pete, and he will usually, if he feels that people are getting too near his area, he will run out, give you a swift kick, and then run off into his burrow. So they do have some kiwi that are a little, even in the middle of the day, he'll do that. They're a little more aggressive, but she's fairly, once she gets calmed down, she's pretty good.
And Camden wants to know, do people keep kiwis as pets?
They do not, at least not legally. They are a protected species in New Zealand, so unless you've done something illegal, I do not believe anybody would have them as a pet.
All right. And Gianna wants to know if they're endangered.
They are vulnerable. So there's so many things in New Zealand that can affect them. Habitat loss and people, that's a big thing. But so many kiwi are dying just from dogs and cats killing them, and stoats, like I said. And so that makes them very vulnerable to those types of things. Luckily, New Zealand takes it very seriously, and they don't want anything to happen to their iconic bird. There really is no other bird like the kiwi. They're very special.
And Ulrich wants to know, what do kiwi eat? You're feeding it meatballs and worms. What else do they eat?
So in the wild, they live off of mostly soft-bodied invertebrates, their favorite being earthworms. Here at the Toledo Zoo, we feed them a variety of food. Actually behind me, have a little sample of her diet. So she gets banana, papaya, melon, apple, greens. This is a Zoo Life pellet. Meatballs, mealworms, earthworms, and then a variety of mixed vegetables, and also blueberries. So we chop this up real small for her, and then we mix it up with her pellets, and then we add worms to it, and that is her diet here. And as you can see, she has her favorite, which it's always, even when she was little, when we were first getting her to eat, it was always meatballs.
And Laura asks, how long does it take for the egg to incubate and hatch?
So the average incubation is anywhere from 70 to 80 days, which is a very long time, much longer than any other bird. And the hatching process is very strenuous on a young kiwi. It can take up to 3 days for the kiwi to hatch from the egg because they don't have an egg tooth like other birds do. They have to use their feet to really push out of that egg. The strong feet that they have, they kick out of that egg. And normally when a bird hatches out of an egg, they kind of have a nice little cap that they push out of. A kiwi, a lot of times the eggs are destroyed. The only way we'd be able to put one back together is to probably glue like 150 pieces. So we actually don't have her egg anymore because she destroyed it. And one of the really unique things about a kiwi is that she does not have nostrils at the base of her beak like other birds. She's the only bird that has it at the tip. So that's really important for her to find food. She uses that tip to root around in the dirt, and when she senses or feels the vibrations of a moving bug or whatever she's looking for, that's when she'll go and get it.
That's very cool. And we have to do the shout out. We have a hi Cynthia, love Kenzie.
Oh.
So we want to make sure we get that out. And let's see, Catherine asked, do they make any sounds?
They do, and it would really be a disservice to try and replicate the sound they make because it is so interesting. I would recommend looking up online a North Island brown kiwi female and male call. I would say the male is more of a higher pitched noise, and the females, it sounds very dinosaur-like. When I heard it, I just really could not believe that that's what they sounded like. It just sounds very prehistoric.
Oh, that's cool.
So definitely look it up.
And Kennedy wants to know if the kiwi bird likes to eat the kiwi fruit.
You know, I bet if we chopped some up and put it in her diet, she would definitely eat it, but that's not something that they have access to naturally. But yeah, they're opportunistic, so sometimes they will eat in the wild fruits and twigs and leaves and just anything they want to eat, they could go after. But their favorite is the soft-bodied invertebrates.
And Nathan would like to know, where can he see kiwi when he comes to the zoo?
So it is a pretty rare occurrence to see kiwi out in the middle of the day. In New Zealand, it would be like a 1 in a million, I believe, to see. So a lot of times they're not really viewable to the public. They always have access to their on-exhibit areas, but I would say that if you come here maybe for the Lights Before Christmas, you might hear the kiwi, but they always have access, so there is a chance that they could come out. They have come out before. Sometimes, in pheasantry, they'll go and they'll open their boxes to check on them, and it'll be morning, and they'll still be out kind of wandering around. So it would just be by chance that you would see them.
And Drew wants to know if her feathers are soft.
Yes, actually, one of the cool things about kiwi is they have almost a hair-like feather. So if I try to pull, I'm not going to pull one out, but you can kind of see they're very thin and long, and it almost feels more like fluffy, kind of. So a lot of times people will call kiwi an honorary mammal. They are definitely not a mammal, they are definitely a bird, but they have characteristics that are so unique to this particular bird that they're more mammal-like. So having the nostrils at the end of the beak is definitely one of them. They have a more hair-like feather. They sleep standing up, and they sleep in burrows, just like most mammals would. Oh, what are you smelling? They don't have hollow bones. Like most birds have hollow bones because they need to have those light bones to be able to fly. And she doesn't. She has nice, strong bones that are filled with marrow. What's another thing they have 2 functioning ovaries, whereas other birds only have 1. And she can actually, if she lays an egg with the one ovary, the next one would come out of the other side.
And Rebecca wants to know, what are the meatballs made with, and are they raw?
They are raw, and this is actually Toronto meat, which is actually horse meat.
All right. And Emery, age 5, asks, what are their closest relatives?
So they are included in the ratite group, which you guys would definitely know some ratites. Ostrich are ratites, and so are the cassowary, which we have on exhibit here at the Toledo Zoo. So it's kind of funny. You see these large birds, and then you have this tiny kiwi who is related to them. So they're ratites, and they're included. It's the flightless bird category. So like I said, she does still have a little tiny wing. Let's see if we can find it, and if she'll let us bring it out. And this is called her vestigial wing. It kind of looks more like a claw. It's very small. Good girl. Can you see it? There it is, right there. So that's it. It kind of has a little barb at the end of it. So that's all that's left from them adapting over millions of years from being able to fly to not being able to fly.
That's amazing.
And she does have one on each side, and a lot of times when she's sleeping, they will take their beak and like kind of tuck it underneath there, and that's kind of how they sleep.
And that leads right into Ulrich's question is, why are their beaks so long?
So they use that beak to really get down deep in the dirt to look for those bugs. If their beak wasn't very long, they'd really be limited to just what's on the surface. So they definitely utilize it. They go really deep. And actually, when they're really young, their beaks are kind of soft, so they won't go as deep. But as they get older, their beaks kind of harden up, and they do get a little longer over time. She is full grown now, so she won't grow anymore. Maybe she'll get a little heftier maybe, but she shouldn't grow any much more after this.
And Kristen wants to know, how is she awake during the day if kiwis are nocturnal?
So we did wake her up. When I opened the box, she was awake because she could hear us. But we do practice with her a lot. So if I were to sit here long enough and kind of rub her head in the spot that she really likes, she may fall asleep and just kind of sit here. But yeah, it is not normal. She usually does sleep all day long. The lights are on in here during the day. She goes in her little burrow and she'll sleep for the most of the day. And then sometime probably around maybe 5 or 6, she probably starts venturing out and then really looking for food and getting around in her exhibit.
And Rowan wants to know if they can run fast.
They can. They can actually run as fast as a human could. And they can do that while traversing uphill, downhill. They can navigate their entire territory, which could be up to 70 football fields big in an entire night.
Wow.
And they will. They'll go out searching for food. They'll call to their mates, or their mate, and they'll look for food all night, and then they'll go back in their burrow.
That is amazing. All right, we do have to give a Star Wars shout out. It is May the 4th. To Sue's granddaughter who turns 2 today. So happy birthday, happy second birthday. That's
Kiwi.
Awesome.
Maya says happy birthday.
Yes. And, that's a good point. Cynthia just told us her name. What is her name and what does it mean?
Her name is Maya. So all of the Kiwi in the U.S., it is considered respectful to name them in the Maori language. So the Maori people are the native people of New Zealand, and what her name actually means in Maori is brave, capable, confident, and bold. So we think that fits her very well. And the Kiwi that we previously hatched in 2016, his name was Karihi Mate. He hatched very close to Christmas, so we thought that name was very fitting for him.
Absolutely. And tell us again, Lydia asked why she destroyed her egg, but you said it's basically so she could get out, right?
Yes, so they don't have an egg tooth like all other birds do, so when they get out, they really have to use those strong, powerful feet to kick out. And I actually have a picture of her right after she hatched out. Like I said, it is an exhausting process for them to hatch out. So this is the very first picture we took of her.
Oh.
You can see her beak kind of looks a little more pink. It looks a little short, and she hadn't even completely dried off yet. So it was exhausting, and she fell asleep for the next 24 hours. And then we have a picture after she was dried off. This is a little Kiwi plush that we got for her to show her size.
Oh, how sweet. And Rebecca wants to know, does she have a family?
So she doesn't have a mate just yet, but when she's old enough, she could potentially get one. She does have, her parents are at the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute, but I don't actually know if she has any siblings at all.
And Ben, age 6, asks, can they fly?
They cannot fly, not anymore, no. So they adapted over a very long period of time to be flightless. And they live in New Zealand on the ground. They nest on the ground. They don't get up in the trees anymore.
And Ashton wants to know, how long is her beak?
So I would say it's about maybe close to 3 inches. You can see it here.
And as you said, it has the nostrils at the very tip of it.
Yep.
And she uses it to dig in the dirt to find those yummy earthworms.
Yes.
And Laura wants to know, are you going to breed her?
So breeding Kiwi would be, there is an SSP coordinator, and that's the species survival plan. She would decide if her genetics are super important or if she's a very good bird to go off and breed. They would match her up with a male, and they would look at a couple different things. Number one would most importantly be genetics. They're not going to match her with somebody that she would be closely related to in any way. They would look at her temperament. You know, if she's a really feisty girl, they might want to put her with a really feisty boy. If she's really calm, like she kind of is, then they might put her with somebody else. And they'll also look at age. So they probably wouldn't match her up with, oh, we don't like that one. They probably would not match her up with, you know, maybe a really, really old male. They'd probably try to find one close to her age. But that's all decided by the SSP coordinator. And so we don't really know yet when she'll be matched up or if she'll be matched up.
And are those whiskers that we're seeing?
Yeah, so that's another kind of mammal characteristic that they have. And they're really for sensory, just like your cat. They use them to kind of feel around them, and when they're going in the dirt, they can feel stuff. But yeah.
Very cool. And Audrey, who's 7.5, asks, do their beaks stop growing?
I do, yes, I think she is at full growth right now. I don't think that it'll grow anymore. When she was little, it was kind of short and stubby looking. But yes, I think that she's at the time where she's not really going to do much growing.
All right. And we have now made it through all of our questions, but do you have anything else to tell us about this amazing girl?
So one of the really cool things about Kiwi is that they lay a very large egg compared to their body size. It's one of the largest. So a bird that is normally her size, would lay an egg the size of like a chicken egg or maybe a little bigger. But she, if she ever gets to lay eggs, would lay an egg that would be about 20% of her body weight. And here I have an x-ray of how big that you can see that egg is up in there.
Oh my goodness.
It's huge. It's so big, in fact, that for the few days before the egg is laid, the female would not be able to eat because she just can't fit any food up in there.
And that answers Laura's question of, do they only lay one egg at a time?
Brown Kiwi can lay up to 2 at a time, so they'd lay the first one, and then they would maybe a couple weeks later lay the second one. Oh, okay, she wants head rubs.
She needs some head scratches.
Yeah, okay.
And Trina asks, what enrichment activities do you do with her?
So we'll throw bugs around in here, and she has her logs that she can kind of jump around on. But for the most part, they're pretty self-sufficient. She'll go, when I come in here in the morning, you'll see her little, I call them her little snoot holes, where she's dug around in the dirt looking for stuff. And that's what she does pretty much all day. She looks around for food. In the wild, they'll look around for food. They'll call to their mates. They'll defend their territories. And they'll breed if they find a female that they like. One of the cool things about about Kiwis is that they are monogamous. So they will stay with their mate. And some pairs have even been known to stay with their mate for up to 20 years or more. So they call them divorces actually, where they will go choose another mate if maybe they have breeding failures, or if they're really young, they might be like, oh, maybe that wasn't the right choice for me, and they'll move on to somebody else. Or if their mate maybe dies, they would pick a new one.
Oh. All right, we're going to end here with Tony's question of Cynthia. What is your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part is probably just having a job that I love. There are so many things that I get to do that is not what people would think is a normal job. When we have flamingo babies, part of my job is being able to exercise them and running around outside with them. I get to take care of this kiwi, and I get to work with so many different bird species. Anything that we would have for off-exhibit breeding, I get to work with, and then any animal that we would hand rear, I get to work with.
That is amazing.
Scratches.
And if you guys would like to support the zoo and the kiwi, they are part of our Zoo Pal program, so you can always symbolically adopt to help care for our kiwi. And as Cynthia said, we do have 3 of them here at the zoo. Maya is off exhibit in our avian breeding center right now, but we do have 2 males that are in the pheasantry, and we said probably the best time to try and see them would be during lights before Christmas, as they are nocturnal. You might get a glimpse of them, so that could be really cool. And we hope that you guys learned a lot about this kiwi today. Please know that not a lot of people get to see kiwis, so this was a really cool behind the scenes thing that we get to do, and we hope that you'll tune in tomorrow and join us for more #ZooOpen online Facebook Lives. Thanks, guys.
You ready to go back? All right.